2 years ago, I was the only white guy in the middle of the biggest tribal sex orgy ever, with hot black women screaming with pleasure everywhere, and men both young and old having non-stop wild sex while sporting some of the longest and hardest penises I've ever seen. It was absolutely insane, and it was that precise moment that sent me on a completely unexpected journey, which led me to discover the incredible secret of the African Congo tribesmen with 15-inch long super penises. A secret closely guarded for generations, based on a 3,000-year-old African penis growth cocktail, which can make any penis increase by 35%. So stick with me for the next 3 minutes and you'll discover how you too can easily increase the length of your penis with at least 3 inches in just 30 days. Like more than 64,000 people before you have already done. The answers I'm about to reveal will also change everything you think is true about your manhood. You see, the only reason doctors think a small penis is something normal is because this is so common. But while it may be common, in no way is it natural, as you will soon discover. Also, what nobody wants you to know is that a long penis is not because of God's blessing or genetics. As the latest scientific evidence shows, if you want a longer penis, you don't have to be a black man born in Africa. You don't have to use crazy and expensive penis pumps, and you definitely don't need any useless pills or dangerous surgeries. Instead, it's all down to a dangerous leak, which is happening right now in your body, which prevents your penis from getting longer, thicker, and fuller, as nature intended it to be. First, I'll show you a simple test that you can do at home to see with your own eyes how deeply your penis is affected by this leak. Then I will reveal a simple 30 seconds African-inspired ritual which can fix this leak and trigger an explosive penis growth of 3 to 4 or even 7 inches in practically no time at all. Backed by countless peer-reviewed medical studies from around the world, the clinically proven and highly controversial penis enhancement secret that I'm about to reveal will also come with a whole bunch of great advantages. Bigger and longer lasting erections, a surge in sex drive and energy, increased sexual confidence, and even a loss in weight as well. So please listen up, because time is running out. If you're under 40 and believe that your penis should be longer and thicker, but don't know exactly how to make that happen, or if you're concerned about keeping an erection for more than 30 minutes, if you're over 40 and care not only about the length of your penis, but also about its health, and would like to put the brakes on before your manhood becomes completely limp, soft, and lifeless. Or if you just got tired of feeling embarrassed or frustrated, thinking that women will always choose a more well-hung man than you are right now. So stay with me until the end of this presentation and you'll need a bigger ruler to measure your penis. You'll see. Believe me, I know what it's like to feel completely embarrassed every time a woman says, "Take off your pants," or whenever some guy saw your small junk and looked at you with pity and disgust. But I'm here to tell you, it doesn't have to be that way. No. Because in 2020, having a small penis is completely optional. Of course, I don't want you to simply take my word for it. Instead, I want you to hear from some of the 64,000 other people whose lives have been rocked by the secret I'm about to share with you.
This program saved my marriage. My wife and I have never been happier, and she looks incredibly satisfied every time she looks down there. So I don't think I could ever thank you enough.
This is kind of embarrassing, but I never had a real girlfriend until I tried your program, Mark. All the women I've ever been with have laughed at my size after a while. They're not laughing anymore, I can tell you that. My penis is now 3.4 inches bigger, and my new girlfriend just can't get enough of it. Thank you so much.
So I saw your program and I got this for my husband. And both of us, we were shocked to see how well your solution works. His penis size grew by 2.8 inches in just days. Although I must admit, I'm the one that enjoys this the most. To all women out there, do your men a favor. Do yourself a favor. Get this program now.
When my wife saw my new penis, she thought I had surgery. She just couldn't believe her eyes how big my manhood is now. But it was no surgery, no pumps, no pills, just your natural solution marked 2.9 inches bigger. And it's only been a few days. This is incredible.
You see, stories like ones you just heard are awesome, but they aren't unique at all. I get dozens of calls and hundreds of emails and texts every single day from men and women across the globe, and they all agree that this massive growth secret I'm about to share is absolutely life-changing. In fact, I know personally just how life-changing this can be as well. Hi, my name is Christopher Adams, and since 1998, when I graduated from the Boston University School of Medicine, I've seen and treated all the aspects of sexual health, including organic erectile dysfunction, penis ejaculatory and orgasmic disorders, low male libido, infertility, and even penis-related injuries. I also had the opportunity to work with top pioneers in the field of sexual medicine, and as a young researcher at the Center for Sexual Medicine, the oldest such clinic in the world, I was a part of the team of elite physicians focused on finding an effective treatment for male impotence and erectile dysfunction problems. Later on, the drug we researched was released to the world as Viagra, changing for the better the lives of millions of men across the globe. In my 30-plus years of experience, I specialized in helping thousands of American men regain their sexual stamina and confidence. Even so, throughout my scientific career, I really had one major dream, something which haunted me day and night, night and day. That is why for the last 10 years I have been a senior health researcher at a top next-generation laboratory for penis enhancement solutions in Pasadena. There, my mission was simple, yet highly controversial, something which even I dared to mention 10 or 15 years ago would have immediately put an end to my career as a sexual health researcher. My mission was simple, yet to many of the old conservative doctors out there seemed absolutely impossible. To research and develop a scientifically working solution that would finally help any man increase his penis size in the shortest amount of time possible. In other words, what me and my team were trying to do for the last decade was to find the next revolutionary Viagra, but for penis enhancement. Now, before I go on, you must know that 99% of the doctors out there think it's normal for most of the men to have a small penis of only a couple of inches. And in one way, they're right. The average penis size in the United States is around just 5 inches. And the only reason doctors think it's normal is because this is so common. But while it may be common, it's not natural, as you will soon discover. Now, the life of a researcher, especially in this sensitive field, is not an easy one at all. And because of my obsession, I've completely neglected my wife and her needs. And I was spending late night hours in the lab and weeks or sometimes even months going to penis enhancement research centers in Switzerland and France to perform lab trials and treat people suffering from the small penis syndrome. But this was only half of my work. You see, it was my firm belief that nature always had a treatment for every human illness or shortcoming, and that a true researcher should be out there in the field, not just hidden behind some books. That's why once every couple of months I took my backpack and searched for natural penis enhancement solutions all across the globe, from the deep pine forests of Japan to the mountains of Tibet and India, or the Australian outback. And during these trips, I've investigated hundreds of plants and herbs and got first-hand knowledge on what works and what doesn't work. Now, some of these plants I've seen are only known to a handful of researchers, such as the Uacrapona palm tree from Costa Rica, also known as the penis tree, and some of them are more familiar, such as the Panax ginseng or masa root, which many people claim to increase male virility. And after testing hundreds, if not thousands of such rare plants and essential herbs in all their forms, freshly picked, grinded, dried, mixed in bitter tinctures, and even fiery creams, every single experiment and rigorous trial led me to the same conclusion. While some of these plants indeed were scientifically proven to increase sexual stamina, bed performance, and were even responsible for harder erections, none of them actually managed to truly increase the size and girth of the human penis. The future did look bleak. And for the first time in my whole career, when I got late at home one night, I truly felt discouraged. Nothing seemed to work at all, and my research came to a complete dead end. But even though I was a scientist, I still believed in miracles. As my father used to say, faith is all about believing. You don't know how it will happen, but you know it will. So by a strange twist of fate, that very night I received a phone call that changed everything. It was from Dean, an old colleague and a good friend of mine from Harvard. Chris, he said, I know this will sound absolutely crazy, but you've got to listen to me. Now, I knew from the start this was a really, really unusual call, but absolutely nothing could have prepared me for what I was about to hear next. Chris, listen, I just got word from one of my research collaborators about a little-known tribe somewhere in Congo where people can increase their penises up to 4 to 5 inches, as if it was by magic. Whoa there, I said. Hold up a minute. There's no such thing as magic. But we continued to talk some more, and Dean gave me all the details about this science-defying discovery. Of course, as a researcher, I wanted hard facts and data, not just tables of shamans and tribes where people magically grow their own penises. Even so, I was completely stumped, and my research was going nowhere. So what could I do? I trusted Dean, who was a scientist even more skeptical than me, but also less curious and less adventurous. So, as you can imagine, I just had to go and see it all with my own eyes. So please be warned, because now things will get absolutely crazy loco. After a 16-hour-long journey by plane and a dangerous 2-day ride through the dark jungle, I finally managed to reach the exotic tribe Dean's connection was talking about. And what I saw there was absolutely incredible. I had just landed in the middle of a jungle tribal orgy, with old and young men jumping around full of energy, flapping their long and thick erect penises, and pitch black women with firm breasts having the wildest sex ever with multiple partners. It was insane. But as I sat there and watched this mind-blowing orgy take place, I couldn't get distracted from my mission. And I've noticed 2 important things then. First thing I noticed was that there was more than 30 minutes had passed since my arrival, and yet everybody was still having sex. As if there was a strange force keeping them going nonstop. And secondly, all the men there, no matter how young, old, tall, short, muscular, fat, or just plain skinny, all of them had some of the longest penises I had ever seen. 12 inches, 13 inches, and some were even 17 and 18 inches long. Imagine. I began to wonder, how come all these guys are so potent and virile? In the middle of nowhere, and with zero access to modern medicine and virility pills like Viagra, Levitra, or Cialis, every man seemed to have ultra-strong erections, even the older guys. At times, I just simply could not explain it. I was racking my brain. But this thing aside, something else puzzled me even more. How come all had such big penises? And I mean, each and every one of them. This was scientifically impossible, as according to statistics, everywhere in the world, the average penis size is around 5.5 inches. Yet the shortest penis I managed to see at the orgy was at least 9 or 10 inches long. So could this magical penis increasing ritual Dean's source was talking about be for real? Or was it just a simple coincidence, I thought? I mean, I was in the middle of the Congo jungle. And everybody knows that African black people are more endowed than white folks, right? You see, according to a recently published study in the Journal of Personality and Individual Differences, ranking over 113 nationalities, the average penis length of the tribal members in the Congo is bigger than anybody else in the world. They have what you may call super penises. The number one question was, why? I was desperate to know if it was something genetic or maybe something else. So I spent the next few weeks getting closer and closer with the tribe's shaman. I was also glad to share my medical knowledge and teach him various simple emergency procedures, like how to mend a broken foot or how to sterilize a wound. At the same time, I was trying to crack the code and find the explanation regarding the unusual long penises the members of the tribe had. After many questions, the shaman slowly began to lift the veil and told me that 11 and 12-inch penises were considered something quite normal for the tribe. Whoa! And if by any chance any of the tribe's members was unfortunate to have a small penis or had an unusual erection or prostate problem that comes with getting older, then he would perform a special ritual which would increase anyone's penis and naturally treat any male-related issues. This ritual was based on a secret recipe which has been in the family for generations. Our long penises and incredible virility is all down to the land we live on the herbs and plants that have been growing here for thousands of years, the shaman said. Made me think about it. So I stood there by the fire, talking to the shaman. I began to wonder, how can I test whether the shaman is telling the truth or not? Could it be so simple, just a strange ritual and some plants to make your penis bigger? Or the explanation was indeed more scientific, I thought. And the long penises were in fact just a genetic African heritage? I said, So a surprisingly simple idea came to me. As any man of science would do, I had to test this on myself. You see, I'm embarrassed to share this with you, but I feel I gotta. I always suffered from having a rather small, below average penis, and I knew for a fact that my wife was absolutely not impressed with my penis, or with how I tried to please her in bed, unfortunately. She never gushed about my penis size, just sort of stayed a bit quiet. And that's why I always knew that she wanted something else. Something bigger, something more manly, should I say, something which I could never offer her, unfortunately, as is. I truly hope she didn't cheat on me because of that. But how do you know for sure? How could any man be sure of what a woman truly thinks about his penis? My small penis always frustrated me. And as a scientist, I knew for a fact that women love a bigger penis. Just go online and search, does size really matter? And what you'll uncover will surprise you a lot. For example, in a research study conducted by Durex Condoms, polling women about sex, of the thousands of females that were surveyed, a full 67% said they were unhappy with their lover's penis size. Moreover, there are multiple articles and academic studies saying that a full 53% of women cheat on their mates at some point. In other words, an average penis size was overwhelmingly reason why women cheated. Like many other men out there, I was doomed to face a life of humiliation and betrayal for as long as I lived. But at the same time, I also knew something else. A 2015 study conducted by the researchers at the University of California, Los Angeles, using a revolutionary 3D penis model method, revealed that the true size needed to satisfy a woman in the bedroom is around 8 or 9 inches, and a slightly larger circumference of 5.5 inches. This is something that can be attained. I thought to myself, and of course, the prospect of adding a couple of inches to my penis in length and girth sounded excellent. It wasn't like I was getting any younger and virile either, so I decided to try the African penis enlargement ritual. Although I was absolutely sure it would not work, no way, I admit I was very intrigued. The evidence was there though. With everybody in the tribe having such long penises and able to perform for hours, I've seen it with my own eyes during the orgy. Surely there had to be some explanation. At first, I thought this was a genetic blessing of the tribe's people. But as I later learned from the shaman, from time to time, for a hefty price, wealthy people from the United States, Europe, and even Japan came to him to get their penis enlarged. And in 90% of the cases, the ritual was a complete success, with people who haven't had an erection in years practically getting erect on demand, throbbing penises in no time, and desperate men in their young 40s adding inches to their penises, going from 3 or 4 inches to even 7 inches after performing the ritual once or twice in the most severe cases. As for the side effects, according to the shaman, there were practically zero, as all the ingredients were 100% organic and natural. And so, the very next day, under his close supervision, I started the penis enhancing ritual. Basically, the ritual involved drinking a weird tasting potion daily. This potion was brewed from both dried and fresh plants, which the shaman gathered from the deep jungle around the village. And of course, I began to track everything in a journal. For the first week or so, I didn't see any major growth, except for some strange feeling that something was going on inside of me, like a surge of energy spreading throughout my body. I also definitely noticed a mood uplift, and I was better focused and more alert. But on day 9, after my first initial increase, when I woke up with my morning wood, which had been pretty common since starting this experiment, I might say, I was shocked to measure myself and see that I'd grown from 5.7 inches to 6.1 inches. I almost felt like maybe it was a mistake or I wasn't measuring properly. But the look on her face when she saw my throbbing penis and how she began to lick her lips when she was noting down the increase, I knew that we were on the right track. And as the days continued to go by, any doubts I had quickly vanished. On day 11, I noticed my body was more muscular, and I was checking in at 6.5. On day 14, my little guy was up to 6.11 inches. On day 17, he was at 7.3 inches. And on day 20, he was at 7.8. On day 24, 8.1 inches. And by day 30, I was measuring in at a whopping 8.73. For the first time in my life, I felt like a true man. Also, other parts of my body increased as well. I was kind of pumped and more muscular. Although I didn't do any particular gym exercises during that period, it was incredible, like nothing I'd ever experienced in my life. And at that point, I honestly started getting kind of concerned because, well, I didn't want it to grow too big, in all honesty. But at the same time, I was also feeling more powerful, more confident, more like a wild animal than I had ever felt before. Indeed, this was a huge discovery. But I wanted more. I mean, why would I settle for less when I could easily get more? So I went back to the chief shaman and told him I wanted to continue the ritual and get an even longer penis and last at least 3 to 4 more inches. I wanted to come back to my wife and truly impress her with my massive penis. Unfortunately, despite all my requests, the shaman did not agree to continue the ritual, despite the fact that I was even willing to pay him more than $50,000 for this. I was that confident that this penis enlargement solution had the true potential to change lives of millions of men across the world. I just couldn't give up. No way. So for the next few weeks, I carefully followed the shaman around, and I secretly began to note down all the plants and herbs that he used for his secret ritual. And when I finally got down to the last secret herb, I double-checked to see whether I missed anything and immediately rushed back to the USA. Back at the laboratory, I immediately began to scientifically test the properties of all the little-known African plants and herbs which made up the shaman's penis tissue expanding ritual. Now, as a scientist, I was skeptical. I wanted rock-solid proof and rock-solid results to be absolutely sure it worked. That's why I didn't just give men some samples and ask for a review. It'd be too easy for the placebo effect to take over, indeed. Instead, I designed an experiment 100% bulletproof that would once and for all show beyond a shadow of a doubt how powerful the shaman's secret recipe really was. The study was double-blind as well as placebo-controlled, the absolute gold standard in the scientific research industry. Nobody knew if they were getting the real treatment or not. First, I recruited over 150 male volunteers between 30 to 65 years old, and some of them had long penises and no sexual problems whatsoever. But the vast majority was formed of very, very difficult cases. Young men with penises which were barely measuring 3 and 4 inches, or middle-aged and senior Americans who had trouble achieving rock-hard erections for years. And not even in their wildest dreams did they ever think their erections could get any bigger. But in their world and the scientific world, it was about to change, as everybody was completely surprised when they saw the results of the test. But before I reveal the results, I first want to share with you something very strange, because this is where things get really interesting. And in the end, this aha moment led me to finally uncover the real cause of having a small penis. And it's not what you think. You see, from the initial urine samples taken from the group of volunteers, I found that all of the men with a penis no longer than 4 inches had one thing in common. Their urine had the same color. Yeah, surely this was not a coincidence. But what was the explanation of all this? Puzzled by this odd discovery, I began to test and compare the urine samples of the volunteers with small penises on one hand, and with the urine samples from the volunteers with longer penises on the other. It took more than 2 months to properly analyze and interpret the data of these tests. But in the end, the results were undeniable and led me to an essential discovery on what I believe to be the main factor which deeply affects the length of the male penis. Well, you see, what me and my team discovered is that all the volunteers with small penises were eliminating through their urine all the necessary penis building blocks produced by the body. Hence, the same urine color, yellow. So please let me quickly explain. Now, not many people know this, but as any other part of your body, in order to grow and get longer, thicker, and stronger, your penis is the same. It needs building blocks, and these building blocks are in fact special nutrients extracted from the foods that you eat, such as folic acid, sodium, vitamin E, ursolic acid, which comes from apple peels, and potassium, which you can get plenty by eating avocados. No wonder why the Aztecs named the avocado tree the testicle tree. In short, in order to grow, your penis needs its penis building blocks like your lungs need oxygen. Now, I'm sure you'd say, the more of these substances I feed my penis, the longer it will get, right? Well, it's not quite that simple. You see, some people can assimilate all the nutrients, the so-called penis building blocks, and get a longer penis, while others, unfortunately, well, they just can't. Now, this happens because of a process called penis nutrients malabsorption. This is the incapacity of the body to absorb nutrients from the food that you eat in your bloodstream. And what happens to all these nutrients, you ask? Simple. You eliminate them daily through your urine. You may have surely heard of people who are lactose intolerant, can't drink milk, because their bodies cannot digest a certain sugar in milk and milk products called lactose. Or maybe someone in your family is gluten intolerant and has to follow a strict diet because their bodies produce an abnormal immune response when digesting gluten, making their digestive tract unable to absorb nutrients. Well, the same thing applies in the case of small penises. If your body cannot assimilate the penis building blockers, which are the nutrients responsible for making your penis longer and thicker, your penis will remain small, no matter what you do. So the cause for having a small penis is not genetics or God's gift, as you were falsely led to believe, but something else which can be easily fixed. That is your body's incapacity to absorb the penis nutrients it requires. The good news is that there is a certain natural ingredient which can actually plug the leak for good and help your penis assimilate all the nutrients that it needs. The problem is, you'd have to be in Africa to be able to eat it. But don't worry, I'll tell you in just a minute how you can solve this problem. Now, if you're still wondering if you suffer from penis nutrient malabsorption or not, there's a very quick and easy home test that you can do anytime. Just go to the toilet like you would normally do, and if your urine is this color, then I'm sorry to say, but the chances you are peeing away your penis building blocks are pretty high. As this was the exact same urine color our male volunteers from the test had. According to the latest data from the CDC, right now in the United States alone, 1 in 6 people are gluten intolerant, while 2 out of 3 adults struggle with lactose intolerance. Well, it should not come as a great surprise, but according to a recent study coming from the Johns Hopkins Bloomberg School of Public Health, 8 out of 10 men are suffering from penis nutrient malabsorption, and their bodies are leaking through their urine the penis building blockers flowing to their penis. The result is a shorter than usual penis, weaker erections, lower sex drive, and an overall shortening of the sex lifespan with at least 17 years. That's why as long as you are leaking the nutrients, no matter what you try to get a bigger penis, it will be absolutely impossible. It's like trying to inflate a broken car tire. Or better yet, like trying to fill up a bucket with a big hole in the bottom. You pour in all the penis building blocks, but the hole is there. In, out, and everything will spill no matter what you do. So what do you do when you see a leaky faucet? You fix it, right? But before I reveal the simple and easy way that you can easily unlock your penis' true potential and undo years of damage, let me first give you a quick recap. Because of the malabsorption, your body cannot assimilate the penis building blocks, which help your penis get longer and thicker. 1. 2. Next, these nutrients are constantly eliminated through the urine, something you can easily test by checking out your pee-pee color. The yellower it is, the more nutrients you leak. That's why your penis has remained small. And at the same time, it's been continually deteriorating because for decades, without you even knowing it, you have been leaking through your urine all the essential nutrients needed by your penis to grow in girth and length, and to keep your testicles and prostate healthy. The end result? A small, undeveloped penis, unable